on now, pull up a stub, folks, and lend an ear. Old Cookie here's got a yarn to spin about an old fella from the far-off land of Scotland, named Steven Moffat. Now, if you ain't familiar, Moffat was something like the sheriff of a big old wagon train called Doctor Who. But let me tell you, he didn't start out wearing that shiny badge. Oh, no, sirree. Y'all comfortable? Good. Let's get to it. Steven Moffat was born in 1961 across the pond in Scotland. Like most youngins in them parts, Steven grew up watching Doctor Who and got hooked tighter than a calf in a branding pen. Now, Steven was good with his letters, real fancy-like with all them big words. And before you know it, he was writing stories of his own. Now, y'all might be thinking, but Cookie, ain't Moffat known for some other shows like one about coupling and that boy Tintin? Well, hush up, partner. This ain't about them. If y'all want facts without fun, go and ask old horseshoe farrier Wikipedia. This here's a Doctor Who tale, plain and simple. Now, old Steven's love for Doctor Who ran so deep, Steven penned a funny little ditty called Curse of the Fatal Death for comic relief. Now, back then, Doctor Who's wagon was parked in the wilderness, but folks lapped it up like a cattle in a watering hole. Steven was making his mark, all right. Fast forward to 2005, when Doctor Who was back on the trail thanks to Russell T. Davies, RTD for short. RTD gave Moffat the reins to write a few episodes, and whoo boy did he deliver. The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances, Blink and more, they hit harder than a rattler on a hot day. Steven was RTD's ace in the hole, and every episode he wrote sent folks talking like it was 4th of July. But like every cowboy knows, every trail boss has his day to hang up his spurs. RTD stepped down and Steven took over the herd. First move, casting Matt Smith as the Doctor, a young whippersnapper that had folks thinking Moffat was crazier than a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. But when that first episode aired, hoo-wee, we was all eating crow. Matt and them pawns had kicked off a season finer than frog hair. At first, things went swimming, but Steven got too big for his britches, wrangling Doctor Who and Sherlock. Both were slicker than greased lightning, for a time. Then things got tangled as a tumbleweed in a windstorm. The pond's story soured, Sherlock got puffed up, and fans squabbled worse than a bathroom brawl. When Moffat brought in the old Doctor, folks got ornery. Stories got shakier than a three-legged stool, and soon, Moffat moseyed on out of town. Funny thing was, though, the new feller didn't light the prairie on fire, and folks started looking back on Moffat's run with rose-colored spectacles. They remembered the good stuff, the Pandorica, Heaven Sent. Then RTD came riding back into town, take back over the reins of Doctor Who, and asked old Moffat to write a new episode. And let me tell you, the cowpokes were giddier than a hog in a cornfield. But you's looking for some answers, ain't you? You're wondering, how was that episode? Was it a gold nugget worth panning for? Or just a heap of horse apples? Well, since you're already here and the fire's warm, why don't you let old Salty tell you? Throw another log on the fire and we'll chew over this one together. All nice and slow like. On some planet somewhere, the details don't matter, on yet another familiar rock quarry, Two soldiers are on their way home when one spots an ambulance on a battlefield and then falls into a pit like a dumbass. Oh, and the other soldier is temporarily blind. We aren't told how. And they are worried that the ambulance is going to kill him because he's going to take too long to get his sight back. Luckily, all these ambulances are all powered down since nobody is fighting nearby. Again, no idea how this guy lost his sight then. So they gotta be quiet and not disturb the ambulance. Dumbass stands up and literally walks onto a landmine and gets killed, triggering the ambulance. And then that ambulance does exactly what they were worried that it was gonna do and kills the blind dude. Before it does, he leaves a message for his kid, then he screams like a little bitch when he dies, which is kind of odd because he acted super tough before.
Ambulance. Dead ahead.
Okay.
Sir, respectfully, your eyes. It might detect the injury.
Well, it might help me then.
The doctor hears the little bitch scream from the TARDIS, and he straight abandons Ruby to go investigate, forgetting this is somehow the first time that she has been on a new planet. And like the dumbass before him, steps on the same damn landmine that the other dipshit did. Luckily, he's the doctor, and this thing takes a second to figure out if the thing on top is worthy of exploding, so he calms himself down with enough time to at least stall the, come on, you know it's coming.
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it.
This is Moffat's first foray back into Doctor Who since Twice Upon a Time wrapped up the Capaldi era. And as far as I could tell, everyone loved it. Boom basically made the internet orgasm. But yeah, I got some thoughts. First, things that I liked. This is a great idea for an episode, but the whole damn thing is the first 5 minutes of Genesis of the Daleks. But this is not the first time that Moffat has shown us scary landmines before. I feel like this episode was nightmare fuel for Moffat or something. This scene is so great and so tense. I absolutely love every moment between the Doctor and Ruby when the Doctor is on the landmine. The episode is strongest when it's focused on them and the danger surrounding them. It's weird because everything else the episode tries to do, it fails at. But it succeeds so well in these moments that it's considered one of the best episodes of the season. One of the chief complaints about this season is how little we truly get to know about the Doctor, and that's a valid complaint. The truth is, he's not around enough in this season for us to get a real true sense of his personality, other than, I'm swiggity swag and I cry a lot. So when we really learn anything about this Doctor, it's during this episode and the Lovebird episode. The acting that Ncuti does here with just his facial expressions is really pulling so much into this episode. I mean, look at this face and tell me that you can't read how incredulous he is, how scared he is, how stressed, and yet he's still admiring Ruby's bravery. This man acts so well with his face, I can read nearly a dozen different emotions in a 5-second span. I don't think we spend enough time talking about how good this man is at acting. Charismatic? Sure. His charisma opens the door and walks in 5 seconds before he even enters the room. He's so charismatic, you tend to like everyone on screen with him. The man's a charmer. But you didn't come away liking this episode as much as you did because Ncuti was charming, or because Splice and Monday had compelling stories. You came away liking this episode because in every scene that he is standing on that mine, Ncuti Gatwa made you feel nervous and tense and worried something bad might actually happen. The guy can act, friends. Now all we need is more Doctor-centric stories to take advantage of it.
Oh, it's gonna be tricky.
It's gonna be a moment, yeah?
Moffat still got it.
Had to deactivate one of these ones at a lesbian gymkhana.
Okay, well, Also, now that it's canon, I wonder who it was.
Change, I get too worried about you and my blood pressure goes up, and I don't know how much leeway I have.
Best not to worry then.
This scene right here is one of the best scenes that I've seen on Doctor Who in a long time. Everything about it is tense. As long as you don't think about it and just appreciate it for what it is, don't worry, we'll get to it. And as great as Ncuti is here, Millie Gibson is right there with him, playing off of him and making me feel her bravery and unwillingness to back down despite it potentially costing her her life. This is a great TARDIS team. This is how you write for characters and add tension and invoke shock and sadness and relief. I thought the ambulances were a really cool concept too. In fact, the whole algorithm is a great idea. Here's a company that sells weapons and relies on war and gets to decide how many casualties there are and who's winning and losing and even creating wars when they're not even there. This is a great idea and it's well executed for the budget. I like how creepy and uncomfortable the ambulances are when they diagnose a problem. I doubt Joe Q Public would be into wires being shot into them with a sharp scratch, but these are ambulances on a battlefield in a war. They're not going to jiggle some keys to distract you while they poke you. I even sort of liked the thoughts and prayers joke, even if it was overdone and a little on the nose. And there's these moments in the episode where the Doctor has no idea how he's going to get out of this one. Basically, he's got to keep completely calm, and there's not much room left for error. But one thing after another keeps screwing with that. The dead dad's kid shows up. The smelted.
Smelted.
It's a good word, smelted, isn't it?
Not at the moment.
Dad is in the Doctor's hand. They find out the mom is dead. Ghost Dad somehow gets triggered. Ruby has to keep the stupid little from blowing everyone up. The soldier friend shows up. She demands the daddy capsule. Monday tells the Doctor he's gonna go boom no matter how still he is because there's a failsafe, and after a certain amount of time it's just gonna go off anyway. The Doctor tells her if he goes boom, we all go boom, because he's basically pure dynamite, baby. Monday shoots him in the arm 3 times to get him to drop Daddy's final flask. The ambulance pokes the Doctor. Ruby steals the gun. Monday figures out the Doctor is right, tells Ruby to shoot her to distract the ambulance, but Monday's unrequited puppy shows up and shoots Ruby near dead, which was fully unexpected, causing the Doctor to freak out and have this reaction. All of this is so f***ing great. It is chef's kiss. It is amazing. I am having a blast. I am overlooking all of the small stuff. I'm not nitpicking. Don't think about it. Just go with it and enjoy. Doctor Who is back, baby. Nothing is gonna... Oh. But... Things I didn't like. Kiss Kiss is so writer trick 101. It's why it feels hollow. You don't have enough chops to write deep character relationships between a father and a daughter? Throw in a cutesy thing. Do it 1,000,000 times and make for sure it's part of the emotional climax and dunderheads may shed a tear. You know why you didn't cry or feel anything at all? Because it was nothing more than emotional popcorn, and you already hated Splice. Speaking of Splice, yet another suck-ass kid in a Moffat story. Moffat, enough of the children. I know they feel like an easy way to make viewers care because they're kids themselves or they have kids, but every time since the first time out, it hasn't worked.
The thoughts, they go so fast.
This is stressing me now. When I get stressed, I forget my anger management.
And even then, the real kids in that episode didn't have to do more than look hungry and ask people if they were their mummies.
Are you my mummy? Where is he? Where's my daddy?
The truth is, either they can't act or you can't write for them. But either way, please stop and play to your strengths.
Did you like the tattoo?
This is how you answer the phone in a tense situation like this? Actually, nobody outside of the Doctor and Ruby react like normal people in this episode. Oh look, my dad sent me a message that just says kiss kiss from an ambulance, and I even say that I know what that means, but I'm gonna run out into what I believe to be an open battlefield, apparently within walking distance from the base, run up to people that I don't know, demanding to see my daddy, even though the guy standing on the landmine has a flesh tube in his hand, and even though we have never seen the enemy, and for all I know, the guy dressed as a pirate and the blonde girl could be Castorians, I'm just gonna keep standing here, demanding to see my dad, even though that these people tell me that this area is dangerous, and I'm not temporarily blind like my dad to see that there are f***ing landmines all around, and these people are not lying. Oh, I'm a soldier on the active battlefield, running out to find the kid that somehow was able to get off base and onto said active battlefield that is within walking distance. And I found her. And there are people standing around. One of them is on a triggered landmine, and they're freaking the f*** out. And one of them is holding the Pringle can remains of this kid's daddy. I can see this is a particularly dangerous situation, but when my bae friend calls in the middle of all of this, the first thing out of my mouth isn't, call for backup. I have hostiles in Sector 7 suspected of turning John Francis Vader into an eternal thermos. It's, hey baby, did you check out my tattoo art? I'm fucking 12, and everyone is talking about death and explosions and the planet being turned into an exploding star if the man holding my dad's afterlife canister freaks out. My friend Monday just confirmed it. But show me the beach and antelope vacation photos, Ghost Daddy. Oh, we have 3 minutes before the entire world we're standing on explodes, and our only hope is really quite the Hail Mary of crossing our fingers that a dead man's love for his daughter will influence an AI to go against its own programming, infiltrate the world's most powerful weapons manufacturer, and find proof that the war we're fighting is BS and surrender, all in 3 minutes. Perfect time for us to talk about if we like each other or not, right? You remember me just talking about how great this scene is? I mean, it's tense, right? The Doctor is so worried about Ruby dying that he tells her to toss the Vader storage system to him for counterbalance weight, but she's too worried about him that it'll go wrong and that he'll die, so she walks it over, risking his getting too worried about him and killing them both to hand the Eternity cylinder to him. And all of it's really good. The problem comes when you find out that it really doesn't matter how close you are to the Doctor. He's gonna kill you anyway because of his Time Lord energy. Even if he doesn't realize that the mine is making him the bomb until after the idiot kid goes after her dad's meeting memorial, shouldn't he be begging everyone to get into the TARDIS, or at the very least Ruby? If he's gonna become a planet-destroying bomb in a few moments, you might want to get all the innocent people around you to the one place that they would be safe before you go boom. And I don't buy that the Doctor wouldn't have known what this mine can do. If they dismantled one underwater during a lesbian gymkhana or whatever, they're pretty smart. And I feel like there's a greater than zero chance that they would understand everything there is to know about one of these once they got their hands on it. Unless they were too distracted with something else. Nice job, soldier in the army. How does Ruby straight jank your gun from you? Like seriously, I know you're confused and starting to realize that the guy on the mine is actually a powder keg ready to send you to your maker, But your training doesn't auto kick in when somebody tries to take your gun from your hands? Lady, you just got your gun taken from you on a battlefield in a war by a 19-year-old keyboardist in a shitty garage band. It might be time to take up tattooing full time. Okay, Kanto's goodbye message to Monday.
And honestly, it's okay that you don't love me back.
Dude, what the fuck? It's okay you don't love me back. Just never mind the fact that we found out she was into him too. Assume she isn't like he does. What the fuck kind of goodbye message are you sending to your unrequited love in death here? Are you straight passive-aggressively giving this girl a guilt trip after you died? What kind of incel move are you pulling here? What kind of selfish asshole are you to really change the dynamics of the relationship of someone you claim to love in the last moments of your life, or in this case, afterlife? I was your friend. I died. Oh, I left you a message. Everything you knew about me was a lie. Ha ha! Deal with it while you continue to live and I don't. Grow some balls, Kanto. I figured out 30 seconds into showing up that she's into you too. Grow a pair and tell her you like her before you die. And 3 minutes before the world is about to end doesn't count.
It was nothing to do with you. It was the algorithm breach.
The Verlaine Guard algorithm is protecting itself.
Well, technically that's true, Doctor. But just prior to the ambulance killing Kanto, you convinced that daddy AI to jump into the ambulance and find evidence that there were no Castorians, and now it's fighting back. So I mean, yes, it killed Kanto, but you sort of caused that to happen. Things I didn't understand. Okay, this one does feel like a nitpick, but I don't understand why the TARDIS is on the planet already when Daddy-O bites the dust. I know the TARDIS takes the Doctor where he's needed, and he ends up saving shit whenever that happens, but there wasn't a damn thing that he was saving here. In fact, had he not shown up at all, nothing much would have changed, except Loverboy here would have lived. I don't know, maybe Splice would have stepped on the mine and died when she came out looking for Daddy. But I mean, would that be so bad?
Fog's been analysed, and it's just fog.
Did you analyze the mud? I don't understand the mine scanning to make for sure the thing on top of it is organic or worthy of exploding or whatever. QQ on the 1 to 3 second scan time. Do I need to step on one of these things, stop what I'm doing so it can read me, and then get exploded? Because if so, the Castorians or whatever better not be very fast or ever be running when they step on one of these things, because they'd be off of it before the thing even finished the scan. I know everybody's already talked about the weird thing with this being the first time that Ruby has been on another planet, and the episode making a big deal about it. Which, yeah, I thought was really weird too, especially considering Ruby mentioned that she's already been traveling with the Doctor for 6 months. Do I think they changed the original order of the episodes? Yep, I sure do. But I guess you can watch them in whatever order you want to. I just don't understand why they did it. Maybe they thought airing this episode right after the Space Babies episode was going to be too much of a tone shift, and they decided to put the Campy Beatles episode next to it instead. Boy, does it feel like everyone's a little too excited and happy for this ending. Sure, the Doctor and Ruby lived and they saved the planet from being blown up, but 3 people still died and one of them was right in front of you. And the kid's reaction to finding out that Daddy is now dead and she's a fucking orphan on a base in the middle of a war is a little concerning. I don't think she's headed for leadership, Doctor. I think she may require some heavy counseling. Extras being extra. My God, these low-budget episodes have so few extras. Soldier, nobody. Oh, hello, Muscle Man. While everyone else was provided standard black gear to blend in with the scenery, the casting director saw your physique and said, you know, tight shirt for this guy. We need these pecs to be seen. This may be a military base, but this guy is the armory with this gun show. Thanks for reminding us that we're all just a bunch of sad slobs, and enjoy your extra being extra award of the week. Da clues, what about da clues? So again, unless I'm missing something, the mystery of Mrs. Flood was not addressed.
The Sutex surprise.
Yes, it's always a Susan twist at the end, as predominantly in the episode as the face of the ambulances, but it isn't explained in any way, and it's really more just there as an Easter egg for people paying attention.
Ruby's regular mom.
But guess what we got more of? That's right, my favorite clue that tells me Ruby and her mom are super normal. The snow! And guess what, everyone? We learn a little bit about the snow this time around. We learned that Ruby is controlling the snow. You see, the snow is falling when she's dying, and that's a good thing, the doctor says, because it means there's still hope. But then as she starts to die more, the snow hangs and pauses in the air. So we are to assume that Ruby is in control of the snow that starts to fall whenever she thinks about her birth. Now I want you to go ahead and burn this in your memory, because when you find out that neither Ruby nor her mom are special in any way, or are they actually controlling the snow, it's gonna make you want to stab someone. So really, how was Boom? Well, it was a Moffat script. Look, Steven Moffat was probably the best New Who writer. He's good at examining the Doctor. And putting the Doctor into situations like this really bring out the best in understanding the character. But he goes over the top, he gets way too cute, and he puts little things in his episodes that are clearly writer tricks, and it wears on you. Boom was good. But really only because Ncuti and Millie acted their tails off. And I think for the audience it was nice to make the scale smaller and have the episode more serious after the stupid babies and the campy maestro. I mean, it's good to have him back and all, but I wasn't as impressed as everyone else seemed to be. And I didn't even get into the faith stuff, and I know Moffat likes to play with that stuff, but honestly, aside from the reference to the cleric and to the church, there wasn't any need for these soldiers to be religious or really the hostile take on faith, but whatever. In all, I give Boom a 7 out of 10. Moffat might want to thank Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson for saving the shit out of this one, though. And yeah, I saw the trailer for the Christmas episode. So, it has a woman traveling alone, issues at an inn, a star bomb or whatever from Villain Guard, and an angel-like helper in the Doctor. I'm getting some real nativity vibes, guys. Did you know that I'm going super viral? Yeah, 17 subscribers now. Guys, Mr. Beast is secretly keeping tabs on me. If you haven't subscribed, join me in saying Feastables taste like ass, and there's a new sheriff in town. Also, let me know what you think of Boom in the comments. Subscribe and follow me and find me everywhere. And as always, stay salty, my friends. If these ambulances can heal full-on laser kill blasts, I don't understand the point of this algorithm. What do you mean you want to be a weapons manufacturing company and control all war, Villain Guard? Have you seen how much money you can make with healthcare?